everybody, welcome to episode 74 of, I was going to say June vlogs then, it's not June vlogs, episode 74 of my Yarny Corner. My name's Alex and I live in Yorkshire in the UK, and this is a podcast all about, I'm going to say crafting from this point forward because things have evolved. All the information about where you can find me will be linked in the description box below this video, and anything that I talk about will be linked in the description box below this video. So, hi everybody, what a month it's been. First of all, thank you to those of you that joined us for June vlogs. We had an absolute blast. They finished on Friday. Today is the 2nd of July. I've got quite a bit to talk about today, but for the first time ever, I have no knitting. Oh my word, I have no knitting. You can hear that noise. The dog has decided now is the time to go in a toy box and find a toy. I'm going to take my glasses off because they are really reflecting. Oh, 1 second. Sorry, realised I've forgotten something then. Right, so I have no knitting. Absolutely no knitting. I have, apart from my crochet blanket, I'm looking over there because it's over there, I have no projects on the go. Now, those of you that have been watching the June vlogs will be saying, but Alex, you cast on a new jumper on Friday, or was it Thursday? I did, but I will talk about what happened in a little bit. First of all, there's some things that I want to talk about. So, first of all, I would like to announce a new make-along. We have been talking a lot on the vlogs about Danny's cardigan because he has been nattering and nattering for a cardigan. Now, in the past, when we've done a make-along, we have done an Alex version and a Danny version. So we were talking the other night and we both decided it would be a really good idea to have another make-along where there's 2 tracks running on it. You can have a Danny version or an Alex version. The dog's got a toy out which she is now shaking. So the make-along is not going to be on Instagram. You can enter on Ravelry, you can enter via email, and you can enter via the Facebook group. They're the only avenues for entries. The reason why I'm saying no to Instagram is because I just don't use it. It's that simple. As time is going on, I'm using Instagram less and less and less. I've talked about it before. I don't like how it runs, how it only shows you top posts of things. I don't agree with it. I think you should be able to see everybody that you follow regardless of how many likes they have. So I don't use it. So Facebook, Ravelry and Instagram. Now, I haven't set up the Ravelry threads yet. I will get around to that, but it's going to be in the next couple of days, so don't panic if you don't see the Ravelry threads yet. I'm not going to have time today, so I'll try and make time tomorrow or the day after. We won't need them up straight away. But anyway, back to the make-along. So we are going to have 2 threads running. You can be Team Alex or you can be Team Danny. This does not mean you've got to choose between us. It's nothing like that. It just depends whether you're Team Danny or Team Alex, depends on what you've made. So the rules of the make-along are it has to be a garment. That is the only rule. You can make any garment you want. You can knit, crochet, sew, you can do whatever you want. And the garment can be for whoever you want. It only has to be a garment. There is no set size. It can be a baby garment. It can be a dog garment. It can even be a teddy bear's garment. It really doesn't matter as long as it's a wearable. So if your teddy bear's wearing it, your dog's wearing it, you're wearing it, whatever. It just needs to be a wearable. That's it. So if you make a cardigan, you are Team Danny. So you would put your entry in to the Team Danny thread. If you make any other garment, you're Team Alex. So cardigans only are in the Danny thread. And that is because that's just a little laugh from us because we talked about Danny's cardigan so much in June vlogs. So Danny has the cardigan thread, and any other garment. Not socks, it has to be a garment, so not cowls or shawls and not socks. Some kind of jumper, t-shirt, cardigan, shrug, something like that. But I'm not going to enforce any rules. If you've put an entry and I'll add it, you know, I'm not going to enforce anything. Life's too short to be trying to say, well, no, that's not eligible. Yeah, you can have whatever you want. So that is the make along, and it's going to run. I was supposed to get my butt into gear yesterday and film the podcast, but it was update day yesterday, and we ended up being so busy all day that I didn't get a chance to film the podcast. So it was supposed to start yesterday, but it runs from now until the 1st of November. There will be a few prizes because Danny's going to pick 2 winners and I'm going to pick 2 winners. So there's going to be 4 winners in total. You can enter into both make-alongs. You can do Team Danny and Team Alex. Do, you know, whatever you want. Just have fun with it. You've got until the 1st of November. Entries, Ravelry, Facebook or email, and have fun with it. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. The second one I wanted to talk about were a couple of podcasts that I have shared on the vlogs, but I like to share things on the podcast as well as the vlogs. I'm aware that not a lot of people watch the vlogs as opposed to the podcast. So the 2 that I shared in the vlogs, the 2 crafting ones. She's trying to get attention because I'm filming, that's what she's doing. Anyway, we're just going to ignore the fact that the dog is trying to get my attention. The 2 crafting ones that I shared, I'm going to share them again here. So, the first one, oh, one sec. I've tried to calm her down, she's not listening. She'll stop in a minute. Anyway, the first one is Sophia at Knits For You. Oh my word, I love her. Absolutely love her. I only found Sophia a few weeks ago, and it's Sophia and her husband Phil comes on the podcast as well, and they are just a delight. Absolute delight. So I've watched a number of Sophia's episodes now, and they are all fabulous. She knits, she crochets, she does it all. She raises money, she does it all, and she is very inspirational. She also does, if you are watching this today, she does live episodes, and there is one tonight at 7:30, which I am going to get to. So she has a live episode tonight at 7:30. This will be the first one that I've managed to get to. She's brought me Mr. Bean. That's what she's brought. So yeah, that is tonight on the 2nd of July at 7:30. I will link Sophia's channel in the description box below this video. But yeah, please go and say hello. Check her out. She's just fabulous. And the other one is Sally at Nanny Moon's Crochet. I mentioned her on the vlogs as well. And oh, another one that's newish to me. I've been watching Sally a little bit longer, and she's just fabulous. Fabulous. Now, Sally is a crochet. I'm sure she can knit as well. I'm sure she can. I could be wrong on that, but she makes the most fabulous crochet things. So at the moment, she's running a make-along, which is for donut buddies, and she picks one, I think it's once a week, and you buy this book on Amazon. I think it's about £10. You'll have to go and watch Sally's video to get all the correct information. But she'll pick one a week, and you go through the book with her and you all make the same things. It looks fabulous. I'm not joining in on this one just because I've got my Stephen West make-along starting. But I'll be definitely catching the next make-along. And yeah, she's absolutely fabulous. She's also doing Wake Up Whips Wednesday. Oh my word, which is brilliant. So she's going through her old whips and she's just picking one and finishing it, which is so good. So I think it was last week, or was it the week before? It might have been the week before last. She finished a crochet cardigan. It was so nice. She makes a lot of amigurumi toys, which are all fabulous, and she's just, again, an absolute delight. So that is Nanny Moon's Crochet. So go say hi to both the channels if you get some free time. That'd be great. And yeah, I think that is all of the things that I needed to talk about at the start of the video. I think I have no works in progress to share. Well, I have one, but it's a cross stitch, but I have no knitting to share. So during the end of the vlogs, I did cast on a new jumper. And it was a king cole pattern. I'd shared it on the vlogs and I really wanted to knit it, and I started knitting it. I got probably 3/4 of the way up the back over the weekend, and I'm like, I don't want it in this colour. So I'd chosen to have all grey, and as I was knitting it, it was looking so much like a school jumper, and I kept thinking, no, it'll be fine, it'll be fine, because it was one with a V-neck as well. And so I kept going and I kept going, thinking it really looks like a school jumper, and I'm like, no, it'll be fine. And I gave up because I thought it really does look like a school jumper, and I am never, when am I going to wear this without looking like I'm going to school? So I had to frog it. It was the yarn, it was just the complete, I had cream as the main colour, so the whole thing, no, not sorry, grey as the main colour, the whole thing was grey. And then a cream ribbon with like a green stripe in it, and it just looked like a school jumper. So I am going to do it, but not in them colours, not in them colours at all. So I have no knitting. But the Stephen West make-along comes out, is it next Tuesday, I think? So I'll be starting that, and in the meantime I'm just working on my crochet blanket. I've got quite a few squares in this past few days, so I'm not going to cast on anything else, just until the desire really takes over, where I really want to cast something on, because I kind of casted that jumper on a whim, because I'm not used to having no projects to knit on, and I'm certainly not used to having no socks. So I kind of casted it on as a whim, and then I really regretted it. So I'm not going to do that again. I'm just going to wait. I've got plenty that I'm working on now. But anyway, let's get into finished objects. So should we just talk about what I'm wearing, shall we? This is, I'm going to have to put a little video on the screen because I'm sort of wedged in with the table on the sofa and I can't easily stand up. This is the joinery top. I can't remember the name of the designer, but I will pop it on the screen. And it is knit in, well, one sec. Sorry, she jumped on the windowsill. It is knit in king cole Linendale. Oh, my word. This was a fabulous, fabulous pattern, and I want to make another. You can see it's got this kind of, it looks like cables, but it isn't. I'll try and put pictures on and zoom in. It's not cables. You knit it in panels and you join one panel to the next panel as you're knitting it. It's really easy. I did share this, I think initially on the vlogs, and I shared it as, oh, wouldn't that be nice to knit? While all the time in the back of my mind I had, I'm never going to be able to knit that. And it wasn't until another subscriber, I'm not going to mention names, but another subscriber commented and said, Alex, because the yarn called for, I wouldn't have been able to get, and it did need to be linen. And she said, Alex, you can get king cole Linendale and substitute the yarn for that. So I kind of thought, I was really intimidated by this pattern. And I was kind of like, I don't know. Anyway, then I was in Boys, which is like a local shop to me that sells a lot of crafting things. And they had this king cole Linendale in there. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to get, I got one ball, one silver and one purple. And I said to the lady at the till, I'm not sure on this yarn at all. I'm just going to buy one of each and just try it, and if I get on with it I'll come back for some more. So initially, because it's Linendale, it was cotton and linen, and I think there was some viscose in it. I was really concerned, and initially knitting with it, it did seem a little bit weird. Now the top is knit on 5.5mm needles as well, which was a really loose gauge. and the yarn had no give, so I were kind of like, first maybe 5 rows I was thinking this is a little bit weird, but as I started to see the knitting build, I was like, oh, I really like it, and I love it, absolutely love it. This is now one of my favourite yarns. Now, I cannot wear wool in summer at all. I can get away with socks, but that's about it. I do have a couple of t-shirts that I do not wear in summer because I cannot bear the feel of wool in summer. I have no problems with this. I think this is the 3rd or maybe 4th time I've worn it since I finished it. I've not really taken it off. And I had no problem with it. I have no problem with it. It is so nice. It has such a lovely drape. It's not overpowering for heat. It's very breathable, and it's just, oh, it's just lovely. The pattern itself was amazing. I didn't do a gauge swatch, which I really should have done, and I always say everybody should gauge swatch, but it had such a large amount of positive ease that I kind of thought, there's so much positive ease. If it comes out smaller, it's still going to be plenty big enough, which it is. It's still, you can see that there's a lot of room. So I haven't got as much positive ease as the pattern called for, but it's a perfect fit. So yeah, I had no problems blocking it. I just soaked it in some wool wash, laid it flat to dry, and it just dried beautifully. It's been a dream. So this is the joinery top, and I would highly recommend it. The pattern called for, I believe, 5 balls of a main colour and 1 ball of a contrast colour. I used 4 balls of the main colour, and I had a minute amount left. I was really cutting it fine. I was playing yarn chicken, and I used 1 ball of the contrast colour, but I only used maybe 2/3 of that ball. I've got a fair amount left. But yeah, and King Cole Linendale, just lovely. So that's finished object number 1. Finished object number 2 is some embroidery, which I've never done in my life. And I've not shared this on the vlogs. I wanted to keep something that people on the vlogs hadn't seen, although I have shared it in the Facebook group. So you may remember me saying that I'd got the Peter Rabbit cross stitch subscription. I'd seen this Peter Rabbit cross stitch. It came out a few months ago and I absolutely fell in love with it. And I really, really wanted it. I never subscribed to magazines ever, but it was the only way you could get it. So I ended up subscribing to the magazine. Now, when you did the subscription, it gave you an option to become a premium subscriber for an extra £1. So I think the magazine subscription is either £22 or £24 a month. You get 4 magazines for that. That includes the premium subscription I've got and the postage. So I've got the premium subscription, and for that they just send random things throughout the year. So the first random gift came and it was an embroidery set, and I looked at it and I thought, oh, I don't know about this. I've never embroidered in my life. So I thought I'm just going to have a little look around. So I went onto YouTube and I looked at some embroidery videos, and I'd shared a picture on Facebook. And the biggest tip came from a lady in the Facebook group, and she said, the good thing about embroidery, Alex, is you can do as little or as much as you want. And it really made sense. So you got this. I'm going to show you it now. This is what you got. And this is, if you can see, it's printed. So it's got a picture on it. And I didn't follow the instructions all that much, really, because how can I explain it? Like, for example, the instructions were having you embroider all these pink lines. And I don't think it looked all that cracking because they're not all the way across, so it just looked a little bit weird. And it also had you embroider a lot of the fur on his face. But again, it looked a little bit weird. So I followed the advice from the lady in the Facebook group, and I said, I thought to myself, I'm just going to do what I want. And I'm sure it was somebody in the Facebook group. As I'd shared, I kind of shared stages of this. And this is why the Facebook group is so good, because I had such good tips. So somebody had said in the Facebook group, this would look better in French knots. Now, it had you doing lines. So I went onto YouTube and I looked up how to make a French knot, and that's what I did. So I did French knots here, embroidered here, and just did this. So I've got a little bit of outline here. I've got this centre of the flower and a little bit around here, and that's it. And I've got it hung up over there, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. And I did the butterfly as well. I did embroider on the butterfly. And I just, honestly, I cannot tell you, this came one Saturday lunchtime, and I sat down and I thought, right, and I had YouTube on at the side of me, so I was following along with lots of videos, and I didn't move until 8 o'clock that night when I'd finished it. And I was just like, wow, I have just been so engrossed in this for an entire 8 hours. And, well, I did move. I went, obviously, you know, made tea and stuff. But other than that, I didn't move, and I had such a great day. So, yeah, I think it's absolutely lovely. So that was my first embroidery. I will do it again. I'm not sure it'd be something that I would actively seek out, but if I see a really nice kit, I would do it. There's a bird out there. Can you hear that? Making so much noise. It's just sat right on the fence. Bless it. Yeah, if I see a nice kit, I would definitely do it. I don't think I'd go and sort of buy my own cloth and try and, you know, do my own thing. I don't think I'd be able to do that. But I'd certainly do a kit again. I really enjoyed that. So that's the next finished object. I have got socks as well. I've shared them a lot on the vlogs. They were a gift and I don't have them here, so I'm not going to talk about them. But I did make a cowl. I can't remember how this even came about. This is it. I'm going to pop it on to show you. I started it in the vlogs and I can't remember why I started it. I just started it on a whim. Why have I got that twisted? Goodness me. And I can't remember how, but I am not doing a good job. Oh well, it looks like that. Anyway, I started it on a whim. I can't remember why I started it or what possessed me, but it ended up where I am now writing the pattern up for it. Everybody loved it, and I am so, so pleased. Everybody absolutely made my day with this because you all loved it. It smells so nice. That's the Eucalyptus wool wash. So I am actually writing the pattern up. It will be more of a recipe than a pattern. It's very basic. It was really easy. I'm not going to have it tested because it'll just be a recipe. But I will add a tutorial in it for a provisional cast on. But I am going to get it written up because lots of people have asked for it. But I just made this scrappy cowl. There is a little bit of texture to it, if you can see. If you can see that. But yeah, and I absolutely loved it. And so did all you guys, which just made my day. Absolutely made my day. And that's got a click on it. I think I've just done that on my necklace. I'll have to stick that back in. I'll do it with a crochet hook. I've just pulled it. I thought my necklace caught on something. It's there, look. Anyway. But yeah, absolutely loved making it. I just used scraps of yarn between 10 and 20 grams. And I did dye up this one. And I think this one. No, I dyed up them 3. That one, and that one to go in it because I wanted it all bright. But yeah, I'll write it up. I'll try and get it up by the end of the month or early next month. So you've got it in time for winter. It's a great scrappy project and I was so pleased that everybody liked it. I really was. It just absolutely made my day. I had so many people messaging me saying, will you please write it up? I'd like to knit it. And just made my day. So yeah, I did make that as well and loved it. And that's it for finished objects. I do think I had something else to talk about, but I think that's all I made. I'm sure it is. So, as for works in progress, I don't have any, but I am doing some cross stitching. So, this is another saga, you see. This is what happens with me. There is always a saga. I'm sure you'll all remember last year I bought a cross stitch kit and it was called April Showers by DMC. It's in the cupboard here. I still have it. And I bought it last year. And it was quite a big cross stitch. And I used to cross stitch a lot when I was in my teenage years. It's all I used to do was cross stitch. I haven't done it since I was probably 16, so it's been an awfully long time. I bought this cross stitch kit and it was quite a big one. And I've struggled with it. I've really struggled with it. It has been, when you're looking at the chart, and it's the same in knitting. I don't know if anybody else has this problem or if it's just a me problem. And it is the same in knitting. I can't read a knitting chart because when I look at the chart, the symbols just dance. They completely move and I cannot focus on any of them. And I'm having the same problem with cross-stitch charts. So I'd started this and I'd sort of really ploughed my way through, and I'd got a big section, well, I'd got all of the sheep done and quite a bit at the bottom. So I'd been drawing on the chart, which I shouldn't have done. I should have photocopied it first. And really, really struggling with it. And then I ordered my Peter Rabbit cross-stitch subscription. But I had it in my head, I wasn't starting the Peter Rabbit until I'd finished this sheep. I was not going to have more than one cross stitch on the go and I would finish this sheep. But I was struggling so much. And I think it came to the last week or so in the vlogs. And I'm like, right, I am going to finish this and I'm just going to keep on going. But I was seriously struggling. So I'd spoken to my friend Sue about it and she said, take a picture and see if you can get it into GoodNotes, because I do use GoodNotes. And I did that and it worked. But the problem is, because the chart is well over a year old, I've written all over it, it's been folded and unfolded so many times. There are so many crease lines on it. I've got all my drawing all over it from the bits that I've already done. And it's very, very faded. So it wasn't very clear on GoodNotes at all and I was still struggling to see it. So it came to last weekend and one of the ladies that I go to knit group with also runs a cross-stitch group. And that was going on Saturday. And I'd messaged her and I said, I'm really struggling. And she said, Alex, you need the Pattern Keeper app. You're going to find it so much easier. So I ended up going to Cross Stitch Club, which loved, by the way, and I'm going back again next month. But my friend got me set up on the Pattern Keeper app and it was so much easier, to the point of I got a pattern on there and she was showing me how to use it and I could do it with ease, just no problems, because you can zoom in and you click the stitches that you're planning on knitting and it highlights them so everything else fades and you can just see what you are looking at, what you're working on. It was just like game changer. I kept saying, oh my word, I can actually see it. I'm not having to sort of squint and double check and triple check. So then once I'd done that, there was no way I could go back to reading that chart. So then me and Danny spent quite a while seeing if we could get a PDF of that chart that I was knitting, and I can't. So what I've decided to do is not force it and just pick it up. It may be something that takes me 10 years to knit, crochet, cross stitch. But I'm not going to struggle doing it. I'm absolutely not. I'm not going to fight to do it. So I have started my Peter Rabbit one. Now, where's my thingy? I've got it all in this binder at the moment. But I think in my next subscription I get the proper Peter Rabbit binder coming. But this is basically it. Whoops, daisy. So it's all magazines, and what you're basically doing is this. I'm not putting the word spring. You get a spring, summer, autumn and winter one. So each issue you work on. So issue 1 is just working on Peter, and then you move down to the egg and the chickens, and issues 1 to 4 is just Peter Rabbit, and then issue 5 moves on to this one. So you're just working away. Now, what I did, I was very clever because I'd learnt my lesson from my other one. So I took a picture and I put it in GoodNotes. So I can't use the Pattern Keeper. The Pattern Keeper doesn't support photographs. You can do it, but they're not very clear, and it does say it may not work if you use a photo. But I've got it into GoodNotes. So I'm not going to show you the pattern, but I am just going to show you what I mean for how much easy. You can't see the pattern, it's just the tip of his ear here. But this is what I mean. Look how much easier that is for me. I'm not looking at a whole chart. So I can pop it into there and I can do it and I can work from it. And that is what I need. So this is where I am at the moment. So I'm nearly finished Peter. I am trying to catch up with the magazines, but I'm also there's a Facebook group on Facebook for the Peter Rabbit cross stitch. So I am in that group. And a lot of people had the same issue. I got issue 6, and then my next subscription came with issues 11 to 14. So I hadn't had 7 to 10. I looked in the group, everybody had had the same problems, and it seems to be that they'd run out of issues 7 to 10. So they sent 11 to 14 and 7 to 10 should come next month. So I'm going to, fingers crossed, my issues 7 to 10 will come next month. So I'm trying to catch up to the issue 6, which I'm just trying to find out, which would be still working on the rabbits. So that's all I'm trying to do, is just catch up. So I'm up to date. It's such a fabulous subscription. It really is. I can't show you the magazines, but you get a lot more than just the cross stitch sampler. There's Miss Tiggy Winko, there's Tom Kitten. These are all different patterns that they do. There's alphabets. Oh, there's so much. And not just that, it's kind of ideas on what you can do with your cross stitch. I can show you this. Like, this is issue 2. I'm not showing anything other than the front cover here. But look at that, doesn't it look gorgeous? You see what I mean? So that's what you're working on. But you also get all these other things. Let me see if I can find another one. I went, well, look at this. Isn't it gorgeous? If you've got little ones. You don't even have to have little ones. Just like it for yourself. Isn't it gorgeous? What a great idea. I'd never have thought of doing that. So, yeah. I'm just working on that and it's fabulous. I'm really, really enjoying it. Oh, I've got a group chat going with it as well. Me and my friend Sue and my friend Anne. So Sue is from the Distance Stitches podcast, which is Sue and Liz. And Anne is from Toby Knits. And they both live in Canada. And we're in a little messenger group together because we're all doing Peter Rabbit. So it's just, oh, it's just lovely. It's just absolutely lovely. And yeah, I think that is everything for crafting related content. Into life stuff. Wow. Okay. On the last episode, the dog had just had surgery, if you remember. She is doing so well. So well. If you didn't watch the vlogs, it didn't go quite as smoothly as I would have liked. She did end up with a little infection and had to go on antibiotics. She had a hernia, obviously where they'd had to do the surgery, and obviously because they had to do the surgery, they repaired the hernia at the same time. They didn't charge any extra for that. They had no choice but to repair it because that's where they had to make the incision. And because of that, all the stitches were on the inside and they were all dissolvable stitches. But where they'd repaired the hernia, there was a lot more stitches in that area, and they'd said it's also where the knots of the stitches were as well. So it was quite a lot of material, and she'd had a little allergic reaction to the stitches all in that area. So she kind of got this big swelling on her tummy. So she went on antibiotics for that, but after that she was fine, and she has been an absolute trooper. She has done amazing. I am so proud of her. I really am. Yeah, she's just done brilliant. She hated the cone. Oh my word, she hated the cone. She got to the point where she wouldn't drink. So I think by this point we'd had it on for a week, and we'd backwards and forwards to the vets. And she'd stopped drinking and she'd stopped eating, although she would eat chicken if I gave it to her. And I kept, I said to the vet, she's just not drinking. So the vet said, look, it's fine as long as she's still going out to the toilet. If she stops going out to the toilet, we're looking at dehydration at that point. And she did. She stopped going out to the toilet. So consulted the vet again, and they said, just take it off her, but just take it off her only when you're with her so you can watch. Took the cone off her after a week, and she didn't even care about the wound. Wasn't bothered at all. So she was fine, and she's been she's over there. I'll see if I can spin the camera around. Oh, where are we? There we are. She's absolutely fine. She's done so well. She really has. So I'm so proud of her. So yeah, we had that, and we've had the shop update last night. So thank you everybody that came to the shop update. We also introduced King Cole yarn into the shop, which, oh my word, we were over the moon about. That was another thing that happened during June vlogs. And I didn't, because June vlogs were going on, I didn't get to really share it on the podcast. It's something that we'd been trying to do for quite a number of months, and it all came together. So we have put King Cole yarn onto the website. Now we started off with a small selection of King Cole yarn. We have to start off small and try and build up. I am going to try and build the collection up, but there is a whole King Cole section, so you can go and you can check out the King Cole yarn. It came on the website yesterday, and we had the 30% off for June. It would never have been in the sale anyway. King Cole are obviously strict pricing rules with King Cole. They give you a very small margin window of what the yarn needs to be sold at, and you do stick to it. So I couldn't have been putting that in the sale. So it came on the 1st of July, and I am so pleased. There is sock yarn galore. There's some King Cole bramble in there. There's some harvest cakes in there. They're the 150 gram cakes, and there is some homespun. Now, some of the homespun's already sold, but there's the mother of pearl one. Do you remember me mentioning the jumper earlier? Well, the mother of pearl yarn is what I think I'm going to remake that jumper in. It's a homespun yarn. I think it's only got 10% alpaca in it, or is it 22%? A small amount of alpaca, some acrylic and some wool. It is the softest yarn ever. And I've got 3 sets of that. So there's a berry colour, which is like a purple. There's the mother of pearl. And what was the other one? It's a blue one. I can't remember what the blue one's called. But I want to use the mother of pearl, which is like a pink, and it's got like grey flecks in it. It's beautiful. So I'm going to be using that. But there's lots of King Cole yarn on the website if you want to go and have a look and see what we've got. And I'm just going to keep growing the stock over the coming months. So we've got that. And what else was I going to say? Needles. There are more needles in the shop as well. There are some of these. Oh, leaning forward. Some of these Addy Crazy Trios, 2.25mm. And it's these ones that I can't show you because I'm using. That's just the box. They're essentially, it's like knitting on double points, but they've got a bendy bit in the middle. So you have 2 on your work and then you knit with the 3rd. And it's much easier if you're not a huge fan of double points. Something new to try. And there are some double points as well, some added double points in the needles. But yes, we had the shop update yesterday, which was just such a busy day yesterday. I was saying, it was so funny because I got a message. The shop update went up at 7. Yeah, it was 7 o'clock. And I got a message on Messenger saying I can't find the advent. And I looked at Danny and he looked at me and he went, yeah, we've not put the advent up. Completely forgot about the advent. So I was taking the mick out of Danny for forgetting the advent. But the funniest thing was, it wasn't until 6 o'clock that I even remembered, because Danny reminded me, that I had my pattern to put up, which is now on the website. The lollipop shawl and mitts pattern is on the website. And the needles, I'd forgotten about those as well. So I think it's because we had all the King Cole yarn to put on. And I wanted to make sure I got everything right with it. I was given the right weights, the right descriptions. That I was just so focused on that I'd kind of forgotten about everything else. It was really weird. But yeah, so it was a really good shop update. It really was. So thank you for those of you that came to the shop update. There are plenty of King Cole yarn if you want to go and have a look at that and see if you would like any of that. And yeah, so I think that is everything I've got to talk about. Yeah, I think that's everything. There's not a great deal of other things happened. It had been such a busy month. The whole thing with the dog, then we had a whole drama with the car. I had to change my car. It's just been an absolute, the whole thing's been a drama. My car got recalled. It's a very old car. It got recalled for a part. And I thought it was going to be a quick fix and everything would be fine. It wasn't. It ended up being much more complicated than they thought. And my car had to be scrapped, and it had gone through insurance because it was because of the garage. So it's been a nightmare. I can't even get into it all again. It's been a nightmare. So that all happened. Then we had all the stuff with the dog, and then we got the King Cole stuff. It's just been a crazy, crazy month. I cannot even tell you what happened in June, really, because I kind of blinked and I missed it. But it was so intense. And because we were vlogging it as well, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. I had this van. Obviously, I'm repeating stuff if you've been around for the June vlogs, but I had this van. I had to drive a van for, I don't even know how long was it, a week? When my car first got taken, they gave me a van initially, and that was a huge drama. I was saying to everyone I can't drive a van, and it was a crazy month. You know when you just have those months where you think, it was one of those months. But everybody's fine, the dog's fine, we're all fine. And everything's worked out perfectly, so everything's fine. But yeah, it's been a bit weird. What else was I going to say? There was something else I've mentioned the make-along. I've mentioned the podcast that I wanted to share. I've mentioned the fact that I've not got any knitting. And you know what? I just know. I keep saying to myself, I'm not going to cast anything on until the Stephen West sock along starts. I have got my yarn. It's down there. Let me see if I can reach down. It's here. I'll show you my yarn that I've got. This is the yarn. It's one of the sets that we made for the shop. So me and one other person has this set. So I've got like it's coming out blue there. It's not. It's a real greeny. It's not showing the right colour. It's not blue. It's more of a jade colour. And then these three. So I've gone very Easter colours. I keep saying I'm not going to start anything until this sock along, but the second I say something like that, then I immediately want to do the opposite. I don't know what it is, but as soon as I say I'm doing this, my brain goes, no, I don't want to do that. So I may cast something on before the Stephen West sock along starts. I don't know. But at the moment, I'm enjoying cross-stitching, so I'm just going to go with that while I'm enjoying doing it. And yeah. So I hope you've all had a lovely month. I won't keep waffling on because I do have a tendency to waffle. Just kind of stick to the podcast and not waffle on. But yeah, we had a really good time. There she goes again, waffling. We had a really good time doing vlogs. I'm thinking I might come back because I've switched the podcast to monthly. I kind of feel like I don't see you very much. So me and Danny were talking about this the other day. I might just stick random videos in throughout the month, which might be just anything, craft related obviously, but just anything, just so I'm not leaving it a month. I switched the podcast to monthly because it's easier for me. And it is easier for me. But I kind of feel like I don't see you all for a whole month. So I might just chuck random videos in. I don't know. I'll see what happens. I'm not going to waffle. So I hope you've all had a lovely crafty month. I will be back at some point soon for another video. I may even come back when I start the Stephen West sock along. Who knows? But I'll be back at some point for another video. Have a lovely crafty day, whatever it is you're doing. And I will see you next time.